This is going to be a reading for my creators, my authors, my big visionaries that are feeling stuck in a rut at the moment. Maybe you're feeling creatively blocked, or there's something that you're moving through that has stifled your motivation to create. Wherever you find yourself on this journey, welcome. Allow this reading to offer you some inspirational guidance on how to move through this creative rut. For anyone new here, my readings aren't predictive. They go below the surface where powerful long-term change begins. My tarot and coaching services guide people just like you through thresholds of change and making what feels impossible possible. Now, because I read differently, my viewers also listen differently. Instead of asking if the messages apply in exactitude, they ask how the messages might apply, then use their discernment to decide what to take or leave. Now, you are the authority, and I'm simply the guide illuminating your own wisdom. So with that in mind, timestamps are in the description. For those who would like a close-up of the soul paths, let me do that right now. For soul path 1, we have golden egg. For soul path 2, we have the gingerbread house. And for soul path 3, we have the hand of glory. When you feel guided, head into the description, click the timestamp for your reading, and I'll see you over there. For those who chose the golden egg, welcome into your message. So immediately with this, I'm getting golden shadow. I feel like there is a fear or some protectiveness around a gift, talent, or skill, and allowing that to be fully visible, whether to yourself or to others. This could also come in the form of stopping yourself before even trying, assuming that you're not going to be good at something, assuming it's not going to go anywhere or be anything. So, what are the things that you are stopping yourself from doing, even though you might be excited about it, and why? What's getting in your way here? There is something that is in the way, and there could be an idea that you have about what it is that you would like to create, but there is something hidden beneath the surface that is preventing you from really bringing this to life. So this could be part of the rut if you're recognizing yourself in the story. Let's get some more messages about this. For Soul Path 1 Spirit, show me what led to this rut. 10 of Swords in reverse. The 10 of Cups in reverse. And the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. This is quite challenging energy. With the Knight of Cups in reverse, there is your stopping energy. It's like something that you might truly feel inspired to follow. It's like you are pulling your energy back from that. And we have 2 cards of endings here. We have the 10 of Swords and the 10 of Cups, as well as the 3 of Pentacles. So there is something within the mind, something within the heart, maybe with community. I feel like there is something going on within the realms, the environments that you find yourself in, that has been really challenging for you to feel at home or safe within. Now, this could be a family unit. This could be among schoolmates, classmates. This could also be at work as well, because we do have the 3 of Pentacles here. And your coworkers, etc. There could be a lot of criticism that has been internalized, and a lack of support, possibly in your creative endeavors. So it has really stunted some kind of growth here. You could also be dealing with mental exhaustion when it comes to connecting with a community or doing the work needed to connect with a community, doing the work even as well. So there's a process that you're maybe feeling exhausted by. However, in saying that, I also feel that it has been quite challenging. I feel like you might be still in it because these 10s aren't upright. If they were upright, I would say this is an active ending where certain things are coming to an end. But I still feel, because they are on the table here and they are in reverse, there's like this stalling or preventative energy, avoidance energy, resistance energy. So let's get underneath of what's going on underneath this. The 8 of Wands in reverse, so more reversals. Again, a different direction is being presented to you, but maybe it's tough to go in that direction right now. I'm feeling this. Ace of Wands in reverse, yeah. And then the Page of Coins in reverse. You could feel quite scattered because the Page of Coins in reverse can be, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, where to begin, where to place my focus. And that 8 of Wands can also be that, where there's this scattering of energy, but also a redirection in some way. But again, there's that stagnancy happening because the 8 of Wands is in reverse. It's like it's time to, I don't know if it's time to go back, but there is a fear of moving forward. There's a lack of maybe motivation, a lack of creative inspiration. There's your egg, Ace of Wands. So there could be a fear of breaking out of something, breaking out of maybe a cycle of doing. There's a dynamic here that I feel needs to be broken. And maybe some healing that has to happen as it relates to the dynamic within this group and whatever that group is. Wherever you're feeling a lack of support in community, wherever you have felt hurt or have internalized hurt because of what someone said, how someone treated you, what you believe to be true within the mind, and how other people's words affect you, your nervous system, how they affect your thinking, and how they have influenced you to stop. That could be what's going on here, is that there is a belief that you can't do what you would like to do with your creativity, with your business, with your skills or talents. So this feels like a moment to assess that, to figure out what you believe to be true, and decide how you want to move forward from here. Are you internalizing other people's fears? Are you internalizing other people's opinions, advice, and stopping yourself from doing something here? So let's get some inspirational guidance, a small step possibly to move you forward or to help you see something in a new way, new perspective. More reversals. 8 of Cups in reverse. Bottom of the deck we'll look at in a sec. All reversals here. So there is a looking over of something first before you move forward. You have 2 8s as well. And that can be about momentum, movement. And the Wands and the Cups are in that reversal. So there is this stagnancy that is happening. Look to where you're feeling emotionally stagnant or uninspired. The feeling that I'm getting with that is you're excited about something, but you're being shut down, or you're shutting yourself down. And round you go, trying to do something that feels safer, maybe emotionally safer, that does everything but the exciting thing. So you're almost looking for detours on, like, how do I get around doing the uncomfortable thing? So this is an emotional review of where you're feeling stagnant, where your heart is being obligated to stay, but you want something new, something different. You want to grow something. You want to break out of some kind of shell. Where is that tension right now? That is where you start. And this might be a little bit of a process here. So you might have to be stagnant for a certain period of time in order to really notice and bring awareness to what the stagnancy feels like, why it's here, what you would like to be different, what communities you want to find yourself in, how you would like to feel, especially when it comes to creating, and what you would like to bring to life. Where are you stopping yourself? So there's a lot of pieces I feel there. Now there's not a lot of major arcana. There are no major arcanas here. That could be one. But right now this is all happening within you, within the mind, within the heart, within your actions, within the plateaus of where you find yourself, maybe in work or in the process. Something is preventing your growth, is stagnating you, is stalling you. And that could be you doing that to yourself, or it could be other people's influences. So check in with that. Bottom of the deck is the King of Wands. I feel like that's who you are. And I love that the Ace of Wands is here because this is the first step in getting to this King of Wands. King of Wands is a master of their vision, the master of their creativity, the master of their will. So how is your will being influenced, and are you going to allow that to happen? Especially if this is something that you are passionate about following. What is the vision that you have, and how can you step into the most empowered energy to move towards that vision without allowing other people to guide you backwards, where you no longer feel you can grow or express in the way that you want? How can you empower yourself? How can you have confidence? And maybe the how isn't readily available right now, but what are some of the ways that you can start slowly stepping into this energy of confidence, of vision, of power, of leadership, of will, intuition? This dragon is not allowing anyone to tell him what to do. He's just going for it, and he's mastering it. That's not to say he won't take guidance from those who have maybe done something like this, or allowing others to influence you in a way that empowers you and pulls you forward rather than keeps you stuck, small, quiet. So there's a fire energy that would like to be activated here. And this is the moment to activate that energy. Start there. Let me know. I'd love to hear how this reading resonated. And I'm going to leave the reading here, my dear Soul Path 1. And if you made it this far, go deeper with me by booking a one-on-one, or join me behind the scenes by signing up to my free newsletter or my Patreon page. Thank you for being here and doing the work. I'll see you soon. For those who chose the Gingerbread House, welcome into your message. Now, what I noticed on this card is the white picket fence surrounding it, and this felt very protective, but there's an openness. It's not going all the way around. Now, I'm feeling that is part of, it might be part of the guidance, but it also might be, I'm getting another message now about being very rooted in where you find yourself. So there could be like a tethered energy or an attachment to the way something needs to be. You could also be building something as well. You want to build the foundations of something with your creativity, but are finding yourself stuck in place, unable to move. maybe shrouded in a fog, maybe protecting yourself in some way as well, but still keeping your eyes open for opportunities. However, because this fence exists at all, these opportunities or these visitors or whatever comes to you can only come in one way. So there's almost this really honed focus, and that might be good, but it also might close off other opportunities or other ways of creating, which could be part of this rut that you find yourself in. Look at the ways in which you are closing off other options, other possibilities. Is there a certain way that you feel you have to do something? Is there a certain outcome or result that you're looking for? That could be that tethered energy that I was picking up, or that fixed, grounded, rooted energy. And that can be really immovable. And that can be both good and bad, depending on how far along that pendulum, that energy, you are on that energy path. I think you know where I was going with that. But so let's take a look at your message here. I want to take a peek first at what led you to this rut, this creative rut. Knight of Wands. Okay. That's a good start. A lot of ambition, a lot of drive. You're moving with what you feel impassioned by, inspired by, moving towards your desires. But, there's your fixed energy, my friends. It's interesting how that happens. King of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So there's a lot of things I feel you're thinking about, you're trying to decide upon. And again, with the swords, it is very, very logical, very one way, very this is how it has to be. This is the strategy. This is the goal, the plan. Let's stick to it. And I feel like you are possibly motivated by that. But I feel that there's also a really fixed way of moving here. And with the Judgment being here, this feels like there is a new way. Something has outlived its efficiency. You have outgrown some kind of process here. And I say that because you were so fixed somewhere. There's a lack of movement with this Four of Pentacles, so much so that spiders have been able to set up shop. So I do feel like that message is opening messages is very on point with where we're going in this message, that you have the passion, you have the desire, you have the will, inspiration, intuition, and the creativity, but there's a way in which you're doing something that feels very rooted. And this could be rooted in fear as well. There's something bigger that you're being called to do, rising above and opening gates for yourself by looking at new possibilities, doing something in a new way, rising above some kind of challenge here, and taking flight. Because this Phoenix has laid an egg, kind of done its job, and now it's time to rise above and fly. I don't know, maybe this is a nest. But I feel you have something established here. Now that you have something established, you're in kind of a rhythm, you're feeling excited, you want to continue to move. It's not about staying where you are or doing something in the same way. It's about maybe adding something new or doing something bigger, expanding on your creativity. And I don't know what that looks like, but I'm going to get some more cards about what's going on underneath this. Two of Pentacles in reverse. So could be, and then we have the Four of Wands. See, there's your foundation again. But it's a different kind of foundation. It's not this kind of foundation where maybe it's just about the money or it's about, how much time I put into it, but the soulful, the meaningful foundations. I just get that you don't want to upset the apple cart because things might be working quite well for you right now, but you're here. So I feel that you are being guided to do a little bit more with what you've established. And create a foundation that's not just financially viable, or maybe that can support you, maybe is a good investment of your time, but also something that is meaningful for you or more spiritual in some way. And you're worried about how that's going to, okay, now I'm getting something different. With the Two of Pentacles in reverse, you might have to carry more responsibility or carry something different. So what I'm getting is that there's something established. It's working like a well-oiled machine. But there's a new arm of the business that wants to be created. Something that feels, just more soulful. But could be a worry or a concern about how is that going to mess with my routine, mess with my schedule, mess with my time. And by mess, I mean, change. There's a concern about change here, about having to juggle a couple of things. So maybe this is you in a job, in a 9-to-5, in a career, and you have this vision about starting your own business, but you don't want to leave the paycheck, and that's valid. But right now there is a fear of, or a worry about, doing something new, doing something different, establishing maybe a new foundation for yourself or a new service within your creative business, and worrying about time. I don't know why I just get time. It's like I won't have any time for anything else when I'm working, when I'm building a new business, or I'm adding this thing onto my creative practice. But I don't really get that it should be a worry. And maybe building a community is important to you, but you're worried, is that going to take me away from the thing that earns me money? Or is that going to take me away from this other thing? But why do you feel you can't hold both? Because I do feel that there is something bigger, more soulful, more purposeful. There's expansion here. There's transformation here. There's energy with the wands and the fire. You're fine in this Four of Pentacles, but what else? There's like a fear of having to do something here, having to make a choice between the two when maybe you don't need to. Maybe you can have both. And what does that look like for you? Okay, there's a lot here. Okay, we're going to try that again. We're going to get just one. A small step to move you out of this rut. Some creative inspiration for you. Another decision, Two of Swords in reverse. So whatever decision that you're worried about making, that you've been contemplating, maybe for a really long time, or you've been wrestling with for a really long time, it's time to start taking action based on that decision and not thinking about how to go around it, how to avoid it. It's really leaning into it, one decision at a time. And it's not about getting rid of one and starting another and completely blowing things up. But again, how can you hold both in a way that is sustainable for you? In a way that doesn't create burnout. This is a crossroads. And that's exactly who I coach and who I do tarot readings for, is creatives at the crossroads. And any visionary at the threshold of change. And I feel that you are at a threshold of change here. But it's going to move you out of a comfort zone. And you have to be okay with that, especially if it's something that you're inspired by. It might mean leaving a little bit of security on the table in order to pursue something that's exciting and that is soulful. There's an intuition you have about this, and I think it has something to do with that judgment of burning away the impurities, the things that aren't working anymore, the things that have grown stagnant, and start exploring new, exciting things that inspire you. But it's up to you to make some kind of decision. And yeah, maybe you will have to sacrifice some of your free time in the evenings or on the weekends to be able to pursue this. But is it worth it? Is it valuable to you? I want to say yes, because of what I'm seeing in the cards here. So maybe it is worthy of not having 4 or 5 hours in the evening, but maybe having 3 hours in the evening for your free time, for whatever it is that you would like to spend your personal time on. So there's a little bit of a commitment here that is required with whatever it is you would like to move towards next. And a really tough decision could be at play here. And how can you unstick yourself a little bit? Remove the expectations, the assumptions, the outcomes or the results that you're looking for, and start exploring outside of that box. And we have the 6 of Cups. So there's a sentimentality here that could be that attachment. There's a nostalgia of I can't let this go. There's like a memory attached to this, quite possibly. But I feel in its current form, it's run its course. Now, this could be someone that you're connected to as well. That you might be dealing with. But this could also be reflections of your childhood as well. Of getting back to some kind of childhood joy, simple pleasures. Maybe instead of working for the man or working that 9 to 5, you want to actually enjoy your creative process again. You want to create in a way that you used to create as a child, with playfulness and freedom and expression and love for that process. So, what can you do today to start making choices with your intuition that allow you to unstick yourself from something that feels too fixed, rigid, isn't a place that you can feel you can grow? And what are some ways that you can start expressing yourself in a new way? And what are some ways to commit to that? To carve out time for that, because this isn't something that's going to just enter your life and it'll automatically be integrated. This is something that you choose every day, over and over and over again. So that is what I have for you, my dear Soul Path 2. I would love to read how these messages resonated. And if you made it this far, go deeper with me by booking a one-on-one or join me behind the scenes by signing up to my free newsletter or my Patreon page. Thank you for being here and doing the real work. I'll see you soon. For those who chose Hand of Glory, welcome into your message. I'm hearing the Lady Gaga song. I think it's called Edge of Glory, but it could be called something else. But you're on the edge of glory. I'm on the edge with you. So you could be on some kind of edge. Maybe you've been in some hermit mode and now it's time to move out of that. You've learned something. You have explored something in great depth. But I believe the Hand of Glory in this deck is quite, I want to say sinister. Let's check. Okay, and this could be part of your creative rut. Legend has it that the Hand of Glory possesses the ability to render its bearer invisible, control minds, and unleash malevolent forces upon the world. Those who dare to wield it do so at their own peril, for its powers are as unpredictable as they are dangerous. It is a symbol of temptation, corruption, and the allure of forbidden knowledge. Its presence serves as a reminder of the dangers of delving too deeply into the realm of the supernatural and the importance of resisting the lure of dark forces. Now, I feel that in the context of a creative rut, I feel like there could be some sensations, some feelings of you being invisible, of maybe somebody making you feel small, but also you could have been going through a really dark time. And that has kind of stunted this creative inspiration or your creative motivation. You have been exploring some things very deeply, possibly in the metaphorical dark, and you're trying to find your way. So you're on this precipice of change, moving from the darkness into the light now. And I feel like you are the one carrying this torch. I'm going to eliminate this idea of exploring the dark forces, because that doesn't feel like it applies. I just feel like you're on this edge of glory, of hope, of inspiration. And it's about moving you towards that. Knight of Swords could be quite fast. But let's see for Soul Path 3. Let's see what this rut's about. What led to this rut? The moon in reverse. Yeah. So because the moon is in reverse and we were just talking about the darkness and you being on the other side of it, I feel like the moon is done. You know, the moon is setting essentially, and the sun is returning. But I feel, you have felt quite scattered, and maybe you have questioned a lot about your direction, a lot about what you value, what you feel you're worth, where to spend your time, energy, money now. I feel like something significant has changed, and there's been a lot of pulling at you. You've been pulling in multiple directions, feeling a little scattered, not sure what to do. There's some inner work that was done in regards to this set of values, this sense of time, you know, putting your time in a new way. I feel you've invested a lot of time in yourself, in your inner growth. Now be wary of the perfectionist, because this could be an energy of perfecting something before you start. So it's not about the perfection, getting it perfect, mastering something. It's about doing the thing, getting it out there, whether it's on paper, on a sketchbook page, or sharing it with the wider world, and then moving on. Figuring out, what do I want to iterate? What do I want to change? What do I want to do differently? And doing that over and over and over again when it comes to actually moving through that. And maybe something that you have been working through in this darkness is your perfectionism, is this scattered energy that you've been feeling and not really knowing what to do or where to go. Maybe that's been part of the confusion, part of the illusion that's been breaking, is that you don't want what you used to want, or you don't want to do things in the way that you used to do them. You don't want to earn money in the same way anymore. But also I feel this is a real focus on internal growth and the inner work that is required. And that will definitely keep you stuck in a creative rut, because when you change as an artist, as a creative, your perspective shifts, your visions change, your dreams change. What you pursue and how you pursue it changes. So to me, this feels like an acceptance of what's new now, and allowing yourself to explore, as the card flew off the table, explore new avenues now with this fresh new perspective, with the inner work that you've done. having gone through the significant challenge and change, having gone through this darkness, there's some lessons that you've gleaned. There's some spiritual growth that has happened in this process. So how can you now move with that? And that might be what this next chapter is all about. We have the Justice in reverse. And just getting a bit more information about what lies underneath, and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So all of these reversals, this feels like a resistance to the change, and maybe a disappointment in yourself. Why did this happen? How did I let something get this far or get here? How could I let myself get to this point? There's a real judgment. There's a real self-deprecation that I'm feeling from this. And maybe you trying to make things the way they used to be, or reflecting on how they used to be and wanting them to go back. But something has changed significantly internally, and you can't go back because you have grown. You have shifted identities. You have crossed some kind of threshold here, and there is no going back. And I feel that is a very positive thing. But it's all on how you are seeing it. So perspective could be very important right now. You feel like you feel like you had bad luck. You feel like the universe wasn't on your side. You feel like you were unjustly treated. And that could be true. But are you going to allow that narrative to prevent you from creating from this place now? I feel that there's something really powerful that wants to come through. And there's something about a new light being shed that only you can shed light on. So if you are feeling resentful, if you are having some negative thought patterns, really catch those things before they start to become who you are and what your reality reflects. Process that. Understand it, feel it, all of those things, because it is a real experience. But don't allow it to define your worth. Don't let it define your creativity and what's possible. Use it as fuel to do something new, to do something else, to do something different from the perspective of this new identity, this new landscape. And that might be a really scary thing because there's no map, there's no plan, there's no guidebook. You write the guidebook. So how would you like to write that guidebook? What would you like to explore first? And let's look at that. The sun. Now the sun is here. It kind of flipped reverse and then went sideways, so we'll honor it in its sideways position. And you have 4 out of the 6 major arcana. So you went through and have been going through a pretty major shuffling, restructuring, reorganization here. And you did nothing wrong. This is just evolution of your creativity, evolution of who you are. So don't be shameful about it. Don't feel like you have failed because you haven't. And if anything, I feel that this is a reflection of your ability to grow and evolve into something more expansive for you. Right now, there is a focus on self, the sun, our purest expression, maybe our childlike joys, our imagination of our personality and how we identify. So really be mindful of that at this time, on how you are identifying with yourself, with your past experience, with your future experience, and what you would like to create from here on out. And what's interesting is the moon and the sun are here. And at the very beginning, I said the moon was setting and the sun was rising. This is the sun rising, is that it's just coming up over the horizon. So this is possibly the darkest before the dawn. And are you going to capture that light? How are you going to capture that light? Bottom of the deck, Temperance in reverse. So how are you alchemizing all of this? And that could take some time, some back and forth. It could really help you to focus on the more optimistic things right now, even if those are few and far between. And that's not to get rid of the darkness or ignore it, but to also include the light with the dark, so we have more wholeness in our experience and aren't simply looking at the things that are not working, the things that are falling away. And that's part of that temperance, is to take the experiences that you have, and rather than fully engulfing yourself in the emotional aspect of that experience, or being too fixed and grounded in what you need it to be, then you can really find the middle path. And that's what it's about. It's not about being full on in the darkness. It's not about being full on in the light. It's about that middle path and balancing that. But whatever you're moving through, it's a big deal. So give yourself a lot of grace. The temperance can be about that grace, can also be about healing as well. So if you are challenged by where you find yourself, you could seek out professional guidance with a therapist or a counselor. So I'm going to leave the reading here. I would love to hear how these messages resonated. And if you did make it this far, definitely go deeper with me by booking a one-on-one, or join me behind the scenes by signing up for my free newsletter or my Patreon page. Thank you for being here and doing the real work. I'll see you soon.